Boom. Hello and welcome back to Calculus 1, section 3.4 on product and quotient rule. There are special formulas that you must memorize when you are taking derivatives of products and quotients. So you cannot differentiate individual parts and then multiply. That's always going to give you the wrong answer. So the product rule formula is the derivative of f of x times g of x is f of x times g prime of x plus g of x times f prime of x. This is the product rule formula. The way my brain works is this. If you don't like it, don't use it. Copy the first derivative of the second plus copy the second derivative of the first. It works for me. I know that some of you will stumble upon some song somewhere that can be, used. In general, you will copy in each one of the terms, you would copy one of the two functions. Obviously, the product is going to be between two functions, f and g, and you will locate those two functions, label them as f and g, and just plug them where they belong in this formula. So if I have the derivative of x squared times x to the 9, we will label x as f and x to the 9 as g. And then we just go and plug things where they belong in the formula on the other side. So copy the first, that's x squared, times the derivative of the second, which is 9x to the 8. Then we have our plus. Copy the second, which is x to the 9, times the derivative of the first, which would be 2x. Do we all agree on that? Good. Now, we do the algebra. How much is x squared times 9x to the 8? Very good. And how about the second one? 2x to the 10. So now you have 9 apples plus 2 apples is 11 apples. Good. Yes?
You could have done it, maybe you could check it by
yes.
combining the two in the first place.
I was about to ask that. Thank you for noticing. We are going to now do this problem by doing the algebra here. X squared times x to the 9 is x to 11. And the derivative of x to the 11 is 11x to the 10. 11x to the 10. So these are the two ways in which you can do this problem. Now, before you jump and start screaming why learn product rule if I can just multiply, let me stop you right there with the next problem. Can you multiply? Can you multiply? No, right? You are stuck with the product rule. Go on, enjoy. Copy the first, derivative of the second, plus copy the second derivative of the first. Copy the first derivative of the second plus copy the second times derivative of the first. Please remember that you are supposed to factor these. So we are going to write 5x cubed e to the 5x plus 3x squared e to the 5x, and then we're going to factor whatever we can. Clearly, x squared e to the x can be kicked out. We are left with 5x on the first plus 3 from the second. The only reason why we are doing this is chapter 4. The next step will be equal to 0, and then you solve equations. X squared equals 0, which gives you 0. E to the x has no solution, and the last one gives you negative 3/5. So that's coming up in chapter 4.
Should it be x to the 5, e to the 5x in the solution?
Yes. E to the 5x. It's clearly e to the 5x.
Sorry.
Please pay attention. All right, thank you. So this is your product rule. You either memorize this formula or walk. Very simple, right? We don't get to debate those things. Now, I did write on the board this alternative version. Depending on which book you read, you might find this product rule written with these u's and v's. So I will add that to the, so I'll say alt formula. So the derivative of u times v is u times v prime plus v times u prime, where, you know, these u's and v's are all function of x. So you can use f and g, you can use u and v, doesn't matter. The formula is exactly the same. It's just which letters are you using to work this formula. So this is your product rule. The next one is quotient rule, and the lecture is over. Then we'll do trig because we have time. Quotient rule. So the quotient rule formula is when you divide f by g. So the derivative of f of x divided by g of x is denominator will have g of x squared. Then you go g of x, f of x prime minus f of x times g of x prime.
Is that the function squared or just x squared?
Function squared. That's a g squared on the bottom. The uv form, which I'm going to write immediately, is cleaner. U divided by v prime is v squared vu prime minus uv prime. So that's your alternate formula. They're both the same. It's just which letters you want to use, F and G or U and V. So one or the other. There was some song with the low D high and high D low, and you can look it up online if you're interested in those things. The derivative of x squared plus 9x divided by e to the 2x. So this is an example. And you just have to be very careful where you place the stuff. Copy the denominator and square it. And then copy the denominator one more time. That's the way to start it. Copy denominator and square it. Then copy the denominator and then multiply it by the derivative of the numerator, which in our case is 2x plus 9. And then minus, copy the numerator, which is x squared plus 9x, times the derivative of the e, which is 2e to the 2x. So now we make this better by factoring and canceling and, doing what we can. Again, you can leave the problem like that on the next exam. But the following exam and the final, you will have to simplify it. And most likely your homework on MyMathLab will not accept this if you put this in. So we should be practicing this algebra with the first example, which is what we're doing now. What do I have? Note that I have e to the 2x common on top, and then we can just say I have 2x plus 9 minus, and this 2 needs to multiply everything inside, so minus 2x squared and then minus 18x. On the bottom, I have e to the 2x times another e to the 2x. And I'm writing it this way because one of these cancels. I could have wrote this as e to the 4x. But then I don't know if you're going to see the cancellation. So I'm going to write e to the 2x in denominator twice. And now, in the numerator, I have negative 2x squared first, minus 18 plus 2 is negative 16x, and then plus 9, everything divided by e to the 2x, and then we walk away. That's it. Now, as a calculus instructor, I am always in the awe of the thing that all of you go, oh yeah, just a quotient rule formula. Yeah, this is, oh yeah, this is not a problem. It's just VU prime minus, right? And then it comes to the algebra in the next step, and everyone is like, run for your lives. You have no issues with calculus, right? When it comes to algebra, it's like, run! I gotta factor it to the x, right? I don't know what to do now. I'm stuck. So, yeah, factoring will be the part of what we do. Let's find some examples in the book to enjoy. One thing that you, or things that you don't want to see is like the third derivative of the product rule, right? Would that make sense? Can you find the third derivative? Yeah, if you have an hour or two, you can. Because what is the answer to the first derivative of the product rule? You see the triple product rule over there? Yeah. Right, there are three functions multiplying. There are formulas for that too. So it gets crazy annoying as you go with the higher order derivatives on the product and quotient rule. So yeah. We are going to take a look at few homework exercises. The first one is, whoa, hold on. They said they added nice problems first. So how about the derivative in respect to w of e to the w times w cubed minus 1. So this is our product rule, right? You have the product rule and quotient rule formulas on the board, so you can refer to those.
Are you counting these as separate functions?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So you have your f and you have your g, or if you want to use u and v, doesn't matter.
Okay.
So we're going to copy the first, derivative of the second, plus copy the second, times derivative of the first. The only thing we can factor out is d to the w, and what's left in parentheses is w cubed plus 3w squared minus 1 when you put them in a descending order. Another example from the textbook. DDP of 4 divided by p cubed. No. What formulas on the test? At this point in time, I have to ask, are you insane? What formulas on the test? You understand that your education is over if you don't know this. Can you imagine if you received all of the formulas along the way, you stop by in the Calculus 3 with the booklet of 12, 13 pages of formulas? You see problem number 1 takes you 7 hours to do because you can't figure out which formula to use? That is, yeah.